Epic Universe continues to expand with new attractions, hotels, fireworks, and even possibly a Citywalk 2.0. Hello everybody, welcome. A second Citywalk next to Epic Universe is inevitable. But could we also see an open hub concept sooner than we think? Epic Universe continues to expand and has largely been considered a massive success for Universal. However, it is going to take a few years for this park and this part of Universal Orlando Resort to really settle into its own and become massively popular as the existing original parks. Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, Citywalk, they've all found their footing. They've all found their audience. I mean, they are just singing along, hitting on all cylinders. It's gonna take a little bit of time for Epic Universe to get to that level. Just having those two parks right next to each other, with easy transit between the two, walkable from hotels, the huge Citywalk complex with restaurants, shopping, movie theaters, and convenient parking garages is really just hard to beat. I mean, when you take that area as a whole, they just absolutely nailed it. The only thing that could make that better is just painting walk and stand on their moving walkways that go between the parking garage and Citywalk, so that those of us who like to walk on the walkways can walk, and those of you who like to stand can also stand without blocking everybody else. Okay, rant over, let's talk more Epic Universe. Right now, you are required to basically take a bus in some fashion to get over to Epic Universe if you are staying on their other properties. The only exception, of course, is Helios Grand, and then Stella Nova or Terra Luna if you want to walk it. But for the most part, it's bus transportation. And so even though that is pretty easy and it's not a big deal, it is less convenient overall. Because getting from Epic Universe over to shopping and restaurants outside of Epic Universe, it's gonna be problematic. It's gonna be a bit more difficult than just walking right out the gates and picking a restaurant or shopping. You gotta take a bus, some sort of transportation to get over to that other ecosystem. It's not horrible, but it is less convenient. And Universal knew that this was going to be an issue with Epic Universe right out of the gate. In fact, they designed their park, they designed some of the choices that they made because they knew this was going to be a problem. This is especially true regarding food. If you look at Islands of Adventure, they've got 23-ish food locations, snack carts, etc. Universal Studios, around 23 as well. Citywalk also has around 23. And then Epic has around 19 to 20. They got a couple more coming online soon, so maybe 20 to 23 as well. So individually, all of them are about the same. But that being said, their parks, all their parks, really only have a couple of sit-down restaurants. Almost all their restaurants are quick service, sort of fast casual. There's 2 in Islands of Adventure, there's 2 in Universal Studios, and there's 2 Atlantic and Blue Dragon in Epic Universe. So Universal has really actively stayed away from these sort of sit-down table restaurants. And this has been a part of their strategy, no doubt. But here's the catch. It works really well at Universal Islands of Adventure because Citywalk is right outside, where they have a lot of sit-down restaurants with reservations and all those sorts of things. And so for people who are interested in that style and that seating, there's a lot of options for you in Citywalk. You don't really have that at Epic Universe without leaving the park and then taking a bus over to Citywalk and then having to go through all that hubbub to get into Citywalk and find the restaurant. So it works really well for those parks. Epic Universe, however, doesn't have that. So instead, what they decided to do with Epic Universe is they decided to level up their quick service game. All of their quick service restaurants at Epic Universe almost feel like a table service restaurant. The way you order, where you sit down, the comfort of the location, and the food has leveled up significantly. All their quick service locations, the food is absolutely phenomenal. I know they pulled all their most amazing chefs over from the original parks in Citywalk over into Epic Universe, and it shows. I mean, that food is spectacular, especially for quick service. But as they continue to expand to Epic Universe, they are going to need more restaurants, more shopping, And eventually we are going to see a Citywalk 2.0. I've drawn up a speculation map that if you watch my channel, you've seen it before. It just kind of shows you where Epic Universe is. You can see this like Citywalk 2.0 there next to the parking garage they're gonna build, and then a fourth potential theme park there next to Citywalk. And so this is exactly what they did with Universal Studios. They added Islands of Adventure, they built a Citywalk between the two, they changed their surface parking lot into a parking garage, and that's what we have today. I very much expect them to do the same thing at Epic Universe. Add a Citywalk, add a parking garage, add another theme park, boom, you have another ecosystem there. And so transit between those two giant ecosystems doesn't seem as painful because you have one huge ecosystem and then another huge ecosystem, and you're probably not gonna need to transfer between the two in the same day. However, what's really interesting is that when they built Epic Universe, they planned for this open hub style Citywalk, if you will, within the Epic Universe park. Right from the start, they built in what I'll just refer to as turnstiles or ticket gates, ticket centers. These are all built into every single portal and even attractions like Stardust Racers that exist in Celestial Park, which just goes to show that from the very beginning, they've had plans for potentially using Celestial Park as almost a Citywalk as necessary at Epic Universe because they didn't build a Citywalk outside of it. These sort of ticket turnstile things, these are different from the gates that block you from entering a portal. There's a whole separate sort of open and closing gate that shuts the portal entirely. These gates close the portals off. They use these today if a portal is closed for some reason, they're not letting people in, they will shut those gates. They can also close them off if they're having some sort of special event or they're doing something in Celestial Park, but they don't want people to get into the portals. They will close those gates. But these turnstiles open up a completely new possibility of what they could do with Celestial Park. They could open it up for the public. They could open it up for people who are staying at Helios Grand or Stella Nova or Terra Luna to basically walk over, even if you don't have a ticket for Epic Universe, to be able to go in and do some shopping and eat at the restaurants. Both of the sit-down restaurants at Epic Universe are in Celestial Park. A lot of the restaurants and quick service restaurants are in Celestial Park. So they could very easily open up this hub to the public to allow for people to get some food, do some shopping, watch the water shows that go on there every day, and even potentially watch fireworks. We know they're testing fireworks, we know they're trying to bring a large fireworks show to Celestial Park. They're improving their water show, they're playing with new projection effects. We know they've messed with drones. They could be doing a lot of cool things and events in Celestial Park that could potentially be open to the public. And what's important is that they could be doing these things while the rest of Epic Universe is open. So not after hours special events, but when it's open. That's why we would need the turnstiles. If they were only doing these things after hours, they would just shut those portals and call it a day. But if they're gonna do it during the day, when people are already in the park and going between the portals and attractions, there may be people in there that don't have a ticket to Epic Universe that can experience the hub, and people who do have a ticket that are transiting between the hubs. We know they also have been playing with the facial technology scanning that they have, to where you don't even need to give them your ticket, you don't need to fumble around for something. All you have to do is just walk through and stand in front of that camera for 1 or 2 seconds. It scans you, good, you're good to go, and you can move right on in. I think this is going to be an important part to making this open hub work. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to leave Dark Universe and then have to go to walk over to the How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk and then stand in a line to show them my ticket and then go into Isle of Berk. And then as soon as I leave there, I got to go to Super Nintendo World and stand in another line just to enter the portal and show them my ticket again. So the ability to move people through really quickly so there's no lines and it's just kind of walk up, scan, and then move, I think will be important. So they've been testing that technology, they've been using it, and it's been working really well so far. So if they go this direction, it would create what I'll call a Citywalk 1.5. Not quite the 2.0 that I think they're going to build eventually. This is more like a Citywalk 1.5. This would also allow the public to see Epic Universe and all the cool things that it has to offer without actually buying a ticket. So they could get more people invested and interested in attending Epic Universe just by opening up restaurants and things for people to go to. And this would all be before an official Citywalk 2.0 opens. Right now, Citywalk draws lots of people into it that don't have tickets to go to Islands of Adventure or Universal Studios. There's movie theater, there's restaurants, shopping. There's tons of people that go to Citywalk that are just local or traveling, and they don't have tickets to go into the park. They could do the same thing with Epic Universe with the Celestial Park. And then once they do add Citywalk 2.0, Citywalk 1.5 could be a natural extension of that, where you're kind of walking from Citywalk 2.0 over into the park, and it's just one really seamless shopping and entertainment district. And then if they build another theme park next to that and they do the same thing with an open hub concept, you can see how you'd have this really long, strip of all this cool stuff between Epic Universe and Citywalk 2.0 and whatever the new theme park is, all this huge shopping district, almost like Disney Springs, but it's all built, like half of it is built into the park. It's gonna be really cool. You can even imagine at some point the Carousel, Constellation Carousel, and even Stardust Racers potentially being single ticket ride attractions. So during maybe downtime when the park isn't as busy, they could maybe open those attractions up for people that purchase single tickets to ride the carousel, kind of like similar to lots of parks that have a carousel in them, and you just buy a ticket and you ride it. Stardust Racers, again, Stardust Racers has turnstiles for entry right in front of it. So even though it's not a portal itself, it has turnstiles built in there. Now they're also building a large structure right across from the Atlantic Seafood, a new sort of area. We've already talked about this being a mixed use building. Could this potentially be a home for some sort of like food festival that they may be planning? So bringing some sort of like food and wine type festival to Celestial Park for the general public, and or for people that are at Epic Universe. That could potentially go in there as well. We also know they're adding more of their quick service restaurants in Celestial Park. Right now we hear there's an Italian restaurant and a Mexican restaurant being built there right in the front area. And we know Universal is not opposed to trying to change the game when it comes to theme parks. Trying new things that nobody's ever done before, exploring new concepts that may work or may not work. They're not opposed to doing that. They could very well be planning that here. They've also been exploring new transit hubs, different ways of getting between the different areas of Universal Orlando, getting people quickly between those two big hubs. And the question is why? Why do they need sort of a faster way to do that, or a new transit system that maybe moves more people quicker? What would be one of the reasons? And one of those could be if they're planning to do this Citywalk concept over here, just hopping a bus and it being really slow and problematic, going between the two locations isn't super efficient right now. If you're gonna have more people going between the two ecosystems, you're gonna want a better form of transit that's a little bit easier to use and less cumbersome. Think about maybe hopping some sort of monorail or something between the two instead of it being a bus system. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how this develops. No news yet on any sort of open hub concept coming, but I think over the next couple of years, we might see it. I'd love to hear what you think. Citywalk 1.5, yes or no? Do you think it's a smart idea? Do you think it's going to be problematic? It's going to create too many people in that space? Would you be frustrated if you went to Epic Universe and you purchased a ticket and then all of Celestial Park was sort of overwhelmed with the public? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think. Anything else you've heard, hit me as well in the comments. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Till I see you next time. The noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.